Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm Dave Westcott, CEO of TransBlue, and I've got with me special guest Jeff Heller. Jeff and I serve on the SIMA board together, Snow and Ice Management Association, and we met through SIMA. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning, Dave. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm glad that you are. Now you're in Indianapolis, correct?
I am.
And you're a big NASCAR fan, right? Or you are a NASCAR fan.
I am a NASCAR fan. I am an IndyCar fan. You know, we're the home to the greatest spectacle in racing here.
That's good, man. That's good. I was at the NASCAR show in Chicago, the street race.
Yeah, I saw your post on that. That looked exciting.
So let me tell you a little story about that before we get kicked off, before we get anything too serious, before we get too businessy here. So I don't know if you noticed, but I broke my ankle.
I know I did.
Okay. So I break my ankle like 3 days before I'm going to the NASCAR race. And I'm like, dude, I can't miss this NASCAR race. And my son's going and I want him to be into manly car stuff. And so I'm like, we got to do this. And so there's this point where we're coming in to watch the race. And as we're doing that, I'm in this wheelchair, right? And so I'm a big guy. And so like I get into this wheelchair box and basically I take this wheelchair up and then I've got to go across over the racetrack and then down the other side. And I'm doing this in a wheelchair and I'm doing this in this makeshift elevator thing that they've got. And so it's basically I get enclosed into this box and I'm enclosed in this box. My feet are touching the front. The back of the wheelchair is touching the back. I can't move my arms inside. If you are claustrophobic, this is not the space for you. So they lift me up and I go up maybe 15 feet in the air. I've got to get out, wheel myself forward, wheel myself into another box, make sure both gates close behind me. And then they lift me up again. And now the racetrack is got these big concrete cylinders that the cars can crash into that kind of, keep them from hitting the fans or whatnot. And then they've got this big fence that looks like something out of Jurassic Park. And so there's this piece where I'm sitting right over top of that fence. Like my wheelchair box is straddling the top of the fence. Okay. And I'm up on top of there and my wheelchair and my elevator breaks down. And the NASCAR people are panicking. Oh my God, this guy's over the track. We got to get this. And I'm like, I'm freaking out because they're freaking out, right? We're all freaking out. And now what happens is the cars come, whoom, 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 and they're right below me. Well, there's a turn that they're coming right out of. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to come out of this turn. They're going to crash. Somebody's going to hit me. I'm literally thinking in my head, I wonder if I could die in this particular situation. I don't think I could have, but the thought was definitely there. And I was broke down, my friend, I said 20 minutes. My friend Paul, who was there, said it was 25. So I was broke down for like 25 minutes in this wheelchair lift elevator type thing right over the track. And so there's that video that I shoot in there and I'm looking pretty cool. And the cars are whipping right around me and I'm watching the show in reverse. But that was my NASCAR experience.
Well,
I'll never forget it.
I'd say you won't forget it.
It was wild, man. It was wild.
It would be exhilarating and petrifying all at the same time.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, man. So anyways, we're not here to do all that, but I just thought I'd share that with you. So tell us a little bit about you. You own your own business. Tell us about your business, how you got started. What did that look like for you?
Well, I came into the commercial maintenance industry in 2005, had no background in it. My background was transferable to the industry because I've always been in account management roles. So was used to juggling a lot of balls in the air at one time. And when I came in 2005, I was working for a national maintenance company that worked with just strictly big box retail customers. And I ran their operations here in Indiana, basically 3/4 of the state of Indiana up into Chicago and southwestern Michigan,
Okay.
and had total responsibility for P&L, sales, operations. I did have an operations manager that worked with me at the time, and we grew our area. When I came in, it was doing about $1.5 million in revenue, and when I left, we were just shy of 5 million.
Wow.
So that ultimately gave me the confidence to think that I could replicate something close to it and build it myself. So when I left them, I had a non-compete that I honored. I ran snow operations for a local landscaping company here. And then in late fall of 2012, I went out on my own and formed Innovative Maintenance Solutions, and figured out real quick that there was a lot I did not know about running a business. And so I've spent the next 10 years trying to figure all that out. So I'm still head above water. So I guess I was probably a combination of luck and skill. I've managed to survive.
That's pretty cool. So you're a perfect fit for the entrepreneurial journey. And Innovative Maintenance Solutions does what today?
We are a commercial maintenance company. What is unusual about us is I am the only employee of the company. I built this myself. I did have a business partner the first couple of years that ended up buying out, and I've been on my own since. It was an amicable parting for both of us, so that was good. We do everything commercial maintenance. I do not. My background was always in big box retail. I made the decision when I started this company that I did not want to compete in that space, which made it a little more challenging for me because all of my contacts and connections in that area was big box retail. So started it, bootstrapped it with about $5,000. I told myself if I burn through this and don't make a go of it, I can always go back and work for somebody else. But the drive was there not to do that because I've been the victim of other people's poor decisions in their business, and I like to joke and say that I'm plenty capable of making my own poor decisions. So that's what we did, and I have a staff of 5 handymen that are 1099 employees through me that I employ throughout the state, but those are the closest things that I can call to employees. I subcontract everything from plumbing to electrical to handyman services to asphalt, concrete, anything maintenance related outside of construction. We do not do any type of construction work. We are strictly commercial, no residential. And I do have a financial vested interest in a local snow and landscape company here. So for marketing purposes throughout central Indiana, I do say that we self-perform snow and landscaping, but my area includes the state of Indiana. I do some work over in southwestern Ohio. Really had no desire to grow it any bigger than that. I think the national companies do have a role to play in maintenance, but I think there are a lot of times that role's overstepped and it's a detriment to the industry. So I've decided 10 years ago when I started that I would keep everything local. And if there was ever an issue on a job that I had to be personally involved with, I could get there within 2 or 3 hours.
Wow, this is very impressive. And I didn't realize that you were a one man show. I didn't realize that you wore all the hats. So
I
this is
wear them all.
impressive. So you are the
I,
salesman, you are the project manager, you are the strategic sourcing partner, you are the compliance department, you are the HR department. You are running the whole show, man.
yes,
Congratulations. That's incredible.
I appreciate that. It has its advantages and disadvantages. Being able to grow rapidly is a disadvantage when you're a one man shop, but we're able to manage the growth pretty good with the landscaping and snow side because of that financially vested interest that I have. I'm really not involved in their day to day operations, but I'm fairly heavily involved on the business side of the business. So, but yeah, I stay busy.
I believe it, man. I believe it. Well, that's really, really, really impressive. And I like what you say about being local. I think that that's an awesome thing, right? I think that things do get lost in translation on the national side of business. I think it's tough, and I've got my own thoughts to that. But I think of it like building a house. You know, the house that you live in, unless you built it yourself, probably was built by a series of subcontractors,
Yep.
and there was probably a dirt work guy and probably a utility guy and probably a concrete guy and a framer and a sheetrocker and a painter and a roofer and an electrician and a plumber. And that's how that happened. And so subcontracting is in every piece of every hotel you look at, every building you look at, everywhere you go, everything was built through subcontracting. But what happens in the snow and landscaping industry with a national company, I think this is a great thing, is one, what are they doing? They're going in for these really low prices. And
Yeah.
then they're putting that burden down on the local subcontractor. And then they have so many different, service platforms that make it, reporting platforms like, hey, I need a picture of this, a picture of this, log into this. If you don't log into this, I'm not doing this. Like, we've taken this idea of, hey, it's a beer and a handshake and here's my proposal and I'm doing the work, out of the business, and we've made it so complex that the local guy in the field, he's going to struggle, and
Exactly. And
he's going to get taken advantage of.
exactly. And the message has now become, we don't trust you, so we're going to put all of these things in place so you're dotting every I and crossing every T, and we're not spending a dime more than we have to.
Yep. Now, I work with an aggregator, and I work with a few of them, and I work with a guy out of the Midwest, and I've worked with him for 9, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a few $1 million worth of business for him. But I'll tell you what, this guy, salt of the earth, and he's a big national company, but I love working for him. I love working for him. I love working for him. And this year he got into a financial pickle, and he calls me up and he says, hey man, I've got your money. Do you need it? Well, obviously I need my money. You know what I mean? I did the work. But he's like, hey man, is there any way you can float me 30 days? And he's like, I've got some other contracts. I've got another account that pays on 60-day terms. And, I've got some other subs that just really, they die for the money. They really need the money. I'd love to get them paid. I'll throw a little extra on your payment, but can I be 30 days late? And my response was, yeah, that's fine with me. Let's be a good partnership. Let's build a good relationship. And I think that so often gets missed in the aggregated model. Like, it's like, listen, I don't have to do any reporting. I don't have to do any work orders with him. All I have to do is send him a bill in an Excel spreadsheet at the end of the month, and I get my money in about 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes care of everything else for me. And that relationship is awesome. And then I worked with Ferrandino and Sons like 3 or 4 years ago, taking care of Safeway Albertsons, and they stiffed me for $70,000, right? and we got the work order signed. We got it done. So like there's those two extremes to the industry. And I think everything is built with a subcontracted model in the construction industry, but it depends on, I think, the company values. I think it depends on what the company stands for. And I think it goes to how they build relationships with the partners that they work in. And I think whether it's local or national, it's all about relationship. Because like you said, you're running a really tight ship. You can be anywhere in 2 or 3 hours. And I think that that's an awesome thing. But I think like for me, I would never want to lose this guy as a customer. I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like I love working for this guy. And if he loses the account, I'm going to be depressed. You know what I mean? So I'm going to bust my butt for him. But he's an aggregator. And at the end of the day, like everybody, oh, this is the worst guy. No, man, this guy's phenomenal. I love working for this guy.
He understands the concept in the aggregating business that makes you successful, and that's take care of the boots on the ground that are doing the work for you.
Boom. I love that. I love that. At our business, we institute what's called the VIP promise. Very important partner. Take care of the people on the ground. Take care of the subcontractor. Anyways, we rabbit holed a little bit there, but that's important in the aggregating model. So I love what you're building. I love what you're doing. It sounds really exciting. So you've been doing this 10 years now. Innovative maintenance solutions. So if anybody's checking this out and they're, in the indie market, check out Innovative Maintenance Solutions. Give them a call. They'll take care of all your needs, snow removal, landscaping, maintenance. That's pretty awesome stuff. Building your business, I'm guessing that you've had some good times, bad times, in between times. What's 1 or 2 tips for anybody who's just starting out their business that is absolutely critical that they have to latch onto, that they have to nail right out of the gate?
Be very mindful of your financials. It's not as much of a problem today because I've been established for 10 years, but in the beginning, cash flow it's a roller coaster. There were weeks that I would start on Monday with literally $125,000 in the bank, and I would end Friday with about $2,500 in the bank. And it takes a certain mindset to be able to continue to persevere and press on when you see your bank account dipping and diving and expanding the way it does when you first start in business. So be very mindful of your financials would probably be the biggest tip I could give somebody starting out.
I think that's absolutely awesome. And the topic for today is financial literacy. I mean, it took us 18 minutes to get here, but at the end of the day, it looks like we're going to get to financial literacy. And this is so important because what we find is that most guys cannot, right? Most guys cannot read a P&L. Most guys cannot read a balance sheet. Most guys are trusting paying their bills, running their finances through somebody else. They're saying somebody's going to take care of this for me. Somebody's going to watch it for me. And that is such a huge piece to building a business. And I love that you're on this call today. I love that you're here to talk about financial literacy. One of the things that I know about you is that you are a profit first consultant. So, and that's for the green industry, landscaping, and the snow industry. And so talk to us a little bit about what it means to be profit first. What, if someone, is struggling with financial literacy, if they don't know how to read a P&L, if they don't know what a balance sheet is, if they don't know what a current ratio is, what is it that you're teaching? Why should they come to you? Why would they work with you? What are you going to do to elevate their game?
Well, first off, the concept of profit first is directing a percentage of all of your sales directly to profit before taking money out to pay your expenses. Purely financial people would look at this as an accounting method, but I think it's more of a mentality as much as it is an accounting method, which is where people struggle. It's developing that mentality. to put profit first. You know, a lot of people think profit's a bad word. It means you're greedy,
Yeah.
and that's furthest from the case. And there's people that make assumptions about profit, business owners thinking, well, the pay that I take out of running my business, that's the profit. No, that's your pay for the sweat equity and the hours that you put into your business. And people will look at their P&L, they'll see a positive number on the bottom line and say, well, this isn't what I have in my checking account. What's the deal?
Right.
So it's developing this mentality to put profit first. The equation is no longer revenue minus expenses equals profit. It's revenue minus profit equals expenses. And the concept is simple. It was this all was born out of a book written by Mike Michalowicz called Profit First. Can be applied to any industry, not just landscaping and snow. But it's a waterfall system where you're taking money coming in from your sales and completed projects and dispersing it to different income accounts, much like maybe when our parents would put money away in a Christmas club to save for Christmas presents. Sure. And the mistake people make is that they can read the book and say, oh, I've got this figured out. This is simple. I just take money and put it in this account and this account. And there's 5 accounts. There's income, there's owner's compensation, there's operating expenses, there's profit and taxes. But the challenge comes in is, well, where do I start? What percentages do I allocate? And if you aren't guided along this path, you end up robbing Peter to pay Paul, taking money out of one account and putting it into another account because you didn't have the percentages correct. So that's where we come in. And I've teamed up with a company called the Green Executive, Adam and Sarah Linneman. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. And I started with them about 4 months ago. I've known Adam for a couple of years, didn't know each other well, was on a couple of podcasts that he hosted. And we started talking back in the spring, and the Green Executive has been in business for about 5 years. They do software implementations for the landscaping industry, and they do bookkeeping services, and they do this profit first consulting. And Adam and Sarah have their own landscaping company in the St. Louis area, have had it for 30 years. So he understands, he gets it. He's a boots on the ground kind of guy, and he knows how the industry operates. And we spoke. It took maybe about a month to put something together, but I joined them because he was having a lot of his client base coming, asking questions about snow. And Profit First, it's basically general business coaching. I mean, it branches out into other areas. We can be talking to somebody about applying the Profit First program in their business, and then it branches out to maybe snow contracts, sales. What's the best way to approach customers to get their snow business, operations. So it opens up a whole lot of different opportunities for us to help other businesses, which this is what it was all born out of, just to help other businesses understand their financials and make sure that the sweat equity and the time and effort that they've put into building their businesses pays dividends for them, not only while they're in the business, but when they also go to sell it.
I love what you're doing. It's absolute. I mean, I think it's so exciting. I love the different buckets and the different bank accounts. And just for the folks that are listening in on the call, you've got income, owner profit or owner equity, operating expenses, profit, and taxes. That's what I wrote down. Is that correct? And so basically, essentially, you're setting up bank accounts and you're dropping percentages of money into these accounts, and you're doing it in such a way like they can read the book, they can learn it, but when they come and coach with you, when they sign up with you, you're walking them through probably a scenario of questions and information, and you're helping them allocate, well, how much money goes to profit now and how much money goes to income. And I'm guessing that there's some estimating techniques that are increasing the price of sales because if they're not selling for the right amount, then they're not going to be profitable. So you're coaching them. So not only are you talking profit first, but like you said, you're also a business
exactly.
coach.
That's where it branches out in the general business coaching, and work with a lot of young people just getting started. We're teaching them the difference between profit margin and markup, and teaching them these basic.
What is that? What is that margin versus markup? How do you explain that?
Well, we tell them, if you were selling a product, say for, you want to sell it for, it cost you $50 and you want to sell it for $80, there's a markup of $30, which roughly equates to 60%. But when you're looking at doing it by margins, you're subtracting out the whole cost of bringing that product or service to the market. So if you take that same scenario with the 80, the 50, and the $30, and you put that into a profit margin equation, that's a 37.5% profit margin. And it's just getting them to understand the difference so that they're neither overpricing or underpricing the service that they're trying to bring to their market.
That is, you know what? I love what you're building. I've said it a few times, but I meet so many young professionals in the landscape industry. And what I find is that a lot of the guys in the landscape industry, they're young, they're great blue collar, they can mow perfect lines, they can get those beds weeded like nobody's business. The shrubs look like something out of Jurassic Park. I mean, they're building this great thing, but they don't understand cash flow. They don't understand money management. And I'm a part of all sorts of these groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and some of these groups have over 100,000 people in them. And when you look at some of these groups, the number one question that's always come up is, how do I bid this? What should I charge for this? What should I charge for this? What is this? What would you guys charge for this? You see that on continual. It doesn't matter if it's landscaping, asphalt, pavers, snow removal. Like, they're all trying to figure out what to charge. And then, you look at it and you get a lot of snotty answers and you get a lot of good answers, but you get a good segment that's kind of right in the middle, and there's people who are just going to tell you. But what happens is, if you ask me, hey, what are you going to charge to apply mulch to a Lowe's store or something like that? Like, well, there's a lot of variations that go into that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things we got to learn and understand and know. And so I guess with the profit first, what you're doing is you're breaking that down and you're creating some systems that are enabling them to understand what to charge the client so that they can be profitable. Is that an accurate depiction of what you're doing?
That is exactly it. It's about making profit a habit, not an event.
I love that. That's great. That's a great word, man. Making habit. I love that. Can you say that one more time for me?
Profit first is about making profit a habit, not an event.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. That's pretty awesome. So, okay, so we're in this system and they're getting hooked up. And how long does it take them to really kind of get this once they're working with you?
We ask that they commit to a 12-month time frame with us to go through building the system in a slow, methodical way that they understand exactly what's going on. And then also to be able to answer any questions, work them through any scenarios that they need help with. Like I said, this ends up branching out into other areas of their business, sales and contracts and things of that nature, where they typically come and, well, what about this? Well, how should I, what percentage of fixed costs versus time and materials versus per event versus per inch contract should I have in my business for snow? And these are all just offshoots of that profit first conversation. So they are certainly allowed to continue on after 12 months, but we ask for a 12-month commitment up front from them to do this in a proper way.
That's awesome, man. I love that. So, okay. So, and if somebody is interested in profit first, if they're interested in increasing their financial literacy, if they're interested in taking their business to the next level, because let's bring this thing first full circle. I said, hey, what's the number one thing you got to know in business? You said, be mindful of your financials. It's like an ever ebbing roller coaster. Sometimes there's $2,500 in the bank. Sometimes there's $125,000 in the bank. You got to have grit and perseverance to push through it. So being a profit first professional really enables them to understand their finances, understand their P&L and their balance sheet. So if someone listening on this call, if they want to get profit first, if they want to take it to the next level, if they really want to grow their business, how do they get in touch with you?
For profit first, they can visit the website for The Green Executive. You can just Google that. Website will come up. If you want to get in touch with me directly, I can be reached at jeff@thegreenexecutive.com.
Awesome. Listen, take this guy up on it. He's a serious man, and he's doing great business. And I'm so privileged that he was been able to be on our call today and share about this. Jeff, as we bring this thing in for a landing, what final tip would you leave for any of our listeners here today when we're talking about financial literacy?
Besides understanding your numbers, I would make profit a habit, not an event, and I would enjoy that profit on at least a quarterly basis. You build up that account, and I don't care whether it's just going out for ice cream with the family or maybe a nice dinner or taking a trip to Hawaii. Enjoy it. You worked hard for it. Continue to work hard for it. And I think the profit first system is a great motivator to stoke that drive and stoke that fire to continue to grow your business.
Man, I love what you said. You've got to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because life is hard, right?
It is. Every
Business is hard.
day.
Every single day, business is hard. I have a brother who has an arachnid brain tumor. It's terminal. Every single day, you know, I look at my younger brother, little baby brother, and think, man, is he going to make it? And last night I'm talking to my dad. My dad's 90 years old at, 9:30 at night. And my dad's like, oh man, we were on the phone with your brother for an hour and the ambulances were there and he's just having a hard time. And, and I'm like, okay, let's pray for him. Let's get this thing moving forward, man. And you take that burden with you. And these burdens and these things that we carry in our personal lives, they affect our business, but business isn't easy either, because we've got, customers that complain. We've got employees. You don't have any employees, so you're plus there. But at the end of the day, we've got to deal with all of these things that happen to us. And so I absolutely love what you've said. Ralph's going to kill me because we're 5 minutes over time. But at the end of the day, I love what you've said, because it doesn't matter if it's going out for ice cream. It doesn't matter if it's going and watching a NASCAR race. It doesn't matter if it's going to Hawaii. You've got to enjoy those moments. You've got to celebrate the wins and the victories. You've got to put those things in place. And so what we've learned today is make profit a habit.
Absolutely.
So get that moving and get in touch with Jeff. This guy is the man. I've been working with him for quite a while, and he's absolutely world-class. And if we're looking at it, it's these really breaking it down, our business into income, owner's money, profit, taxes, operating expenses. That's kind of the fundamental bank account settings. But have somebody set in place and be mindful of your finances. Watch your finances. Don't leave the hen house open for the wolf to get in there, right? Make sure it's managed. So
absolutely.
This is a great call. I'm so glad that you were with us today. This is the Entrepreneurial Journey with Dave Westcott, my special guest, Jeff Heller. Andy gives us a thumbs up and says, great live event. Thank you, Andy, for joining in on the call today. And we appreciate everybody this morning. We appreciate your time and your effort. And Jeff, hey, man, have a blessed season this year. And thank you for joining the call.
You do the same, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. And that's a great reminder. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at Ponte Verde, right down in Florida for the SIMA leadership event. If you haven't signed up, check it out on the SIMA website. I'm Dave Westcott. I'll be back next week. Listen, and check this out. Next week, same time, if you like this, if it was a good event, give it a like, give it a share it on your network, share it on the message. And give us a follow on LinkedIn or Facebook. I'm available on LinkedIn, David Westcott. I'm available on Facebook, David Westcott. And Jeff is also Jeff Heller on LinkedIn. He hangs out there too. So give him a like and a follow. Thank you so much and have a great week.